Hello, and welcome to this College Credit Plus information meeting for the 21-22 school year. I know many of you have had this before, and I try to go as fast as I can for you, but as slow as I can also for ones that this is new. Do not forget, if you have any questions or concerns, you can go to any of the social media that's in the bottom right hand or left hand corner, or you can email me, and my email will be at the end. So, what we're going to discuss is the College Credit Plus program, talk about how to be admitted into the college, the timeline and paperwork, and also hopefully I answer most of your questions, but give you the emails so that you can contact me if you have questions. College Credit Plus, what it is, it's an Ohio program. It is for dual credit, is where the students can learn high school credit and college credit at the same time. Students, by doing that, must adhere to all requirements for the college. This is for grades 7 to 12, and they have to be what is deemed eligible for College Credit Plus, which means there are multiple measures that they need to go through, as well as an AccuPlacer test, which lets them know if they are at the level, which we'll get into here in a minute. This applies to any public or private college within the state of Ohio, and we'll talk about transferring here in a little bit as well. Again, you can choose from a variety of course levels as determined by the placement of the ACT or your AccuPlacer, and you also must be an Ohio resident. So, for every 3 semester hours or higher, it will equal 1 high school Carnegie unit, which means, for example, if a student takes sign language for a semester. It is a 3 semester hour class for college. Therefore, they will get 1 full credit of a foreign language in a semester, what usually takes students a full year to get. They can take classes during the summer. The way that works is it goes from summer to spring. So this upcoming summer of 21 will be part of the 21-22 school year. To be eligible, or what is deemed be eligible, students will have to take an assessment exam, and that would be the ACT, the SAT, or the AccuPlacer. But what the students mainly use for around here for us is the ACT and the AccuPlacer. There are different requirements, but for the most part, they all have the same scores for the AccuPlacer to make it a little bit more user-friendly and concise. Students must be indicated they're college ready with at least 1 subject area. For example, many are with English and some do English and math. So you might have a little bit more of an AccuPlacer if you're trying to go for a higher level if you are a returning CCP person. And the college has the final say of who's accepted, not the high school. In the past, I've had some parents, a little upset because their students can't go, and, what did we do? We have no say in that. This is 100% on the college and not us. The students that are not college level have another way they can get in depending on their scores. If their scores are borderline or just a little under, then they have an overall GPA of a 3.0. They would have to have a recommendation letter, and the recommendation letter usually has to come from, they like it to be from the teacher in which they tested low, but if they can't get that, they will look at a principal and a counselor's as well. Due to COVID, and this is from last year, so again, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to go this year, but they told us to go ahead and keep it in for right now. They are possibly going to waive some of the requirements due to be able to do in face or in-person testing. So as that comes available, we will let you all know. Then the actual admissions. The students will apply for the admission. The students will meet the admissions requirements. They will contact the college and learn their process. I will also have a worksheet that I will give each student for whatever college that they're applying to. If it's one of our main ones, I know as of right now, I have one student that is going to be going to the University of Findlay next year with CCP, and I have at least one that's going to be going to Ohio Christian next year. So obviously, I don't have those worksheets, but I am working with those colleges to make sure it's a very seamless transaction. And again, the college has the final decision. College admissions. If a student is deemed eligible, then they are admitted to the college. Then it comes time to discuss the options in which the student wants to take. There are what's called entry levels and then higher levels. Obviously, when they first start, it has to be the entry levels, and depending on how high they go, they could possibly have to pay a little bit if they deem up, like possibly to like the junior level of a specific course. Courses can satisfy high school graduation. Again, I have many students who are taking English, some are taking math and history and electives, and they also count on their high school transcript towards their Ohio graduation requirements. The college advisor will help based on their assessment scores, their prereqs, and if they're on level 1 or level 2, depending on how many credit hours that they have already completed. So for example, level 1 is the first 15 credits that they take, or first 15 semester hours that they take. Those are transferable courses. They can be IT, they can be foreign language, psychology, sociology, they can be just about anything. Courses that are part of a technical certification, also part of a 15 or 30 pathways. So realistically, everybody starts off in level 1. These are just the breakdowns of things that they can do, but they're all within that first 15 credits / semester hours. College must post their level on details. And so what I will do is make sure they all have the website. At least I know Edison's by heart, so I can give them to show them of all the courses that are offered, and then have a way that they can see all the other colleges, because most colleges do have a CCP page that you can go and see what they have. There are some classes that are not allowed to fall underneath the CCP. That is private 101 courses, courses with very high fees, study abroad, physical education courses, pass-fail courses, and remedial courses / religious courses. If a student takes any of these, they are going to have to be between you but you are going to be the one responsible for the fee, because that is not covered under the College Credit Plus program. What we have at GHS is all of ours for once are now all through Edison. We have communications, we have composition, literature, government, econ, psychology, sociology, communication, creative writing, American Sign Language 1 through 4. Now, we have 1 through 4, but the only way we can keep it is because we actually have a professor that comes to us from Edison. So when she comes, we have to have at least, I think it's 12 to 13 per level. So if I have like 8 and maybe signing up for American Sign Language 3, we will not be offering it on campus or at GHS. Now you can still go to Edison, do it online, or go there. That will be fine, but I have a minimum requirement of students that needs to be in seat for the professor to come to us. And the way this also works is we do 1 and 3 first semester and 2 and 4 second semester. So especially those that are going for that diploma with honors, you can get 3 units of a foreign language in a year and a half. Grades. The way this works is when I get the grades from the college, it goes in as their first, second, and then their semester final. So they do get grades for the first quarter and second quarter, but I don't usually get them until almost the end of our second 9 weeks. I go back and I put them in. So it is factored into the GPA. If a course is weighted, then it will be weighted at the college as well. So for example, if you look at the bottom bulletin, our 5.0 scale is as followed. If the course starts with ENG for English, HST for history, and MTH for math, Those courses will be on the 5-point grading scale. Just like you can take courses on the 5-point grading scale at the high school, it is offered as well to CCP. Students will still need to complete their end of the course exams for English, math, and science, whether they take it at the college or at the high school. Let's say that they take English online at Edison, they're still going to have to sit for the end of course exam for English, and they will be in contact with both myself or Mr. Spurko. The students can enroll up to 30 semester hours per year. But what they need to do is, this is a very important slide. If you remember any of them or want to take notes, this is the big one, because it also, you need to take out the courses that you are taking at the high school. For example, there's that formula for you right there. They're allowed 30 hours, but then you're going to subtract the combination of how many total credits you're taking at the high school multiplied by 3. Let's say that you took 2 classes at the high school, so there's 6. You're going to take 30 minus 6. That is how many maximum CCP credit hours you can get in that semester. You can only get a maximum of 120 credits in the 4 years that you take this, but you can get 30 within a year. So from summer to spring, you could get 30, depending on how many you're taking at how many actual classes you're taking at the high school. So for example, if Paul takes 1 class at GHS, 4 times 3 is 12, you're going to take 30 minus 12. So Paul is eligible for 18 college credits that academic semester. I have year, but it's a semester, because obviously the next year or the next semester can be different since we're semesters. That has went back and forth, and I have had it finally looked at that yes, it is based on semesters. They are eligible to attend college the summer, the fall, the spring, but all those go in to that amount. If a student does enroll in more than 30 semester hours in a year, it will be discussed with the parent or the student and also the parent whether or not to drop the course, and you will not get penalized for it, or you would have to pay for the course because that would be over what is stated for a student in the College Credit Plus program. I have in the past had at least 3 that I can think of that graduated with obviously their high school diploma and their associate's degree. And one of them I know for a fact had to pay maybe $120 because they went over the 30 in a year, but it is capable. It's all depending on what you want to do. What is different? Well, obviously, when we have tests at the high school, they're given weekly or at the end of the chapter. Sometimes in college, it can be very few. It could be a midterm and a final. That's the only grade. So it all depends. Study time. They say an average of 1 to 3 hours per day, which we know it's a little bit high, but when you're looking at college, it could be 2 to 3 hours of homework. It depends on how many classes that you have at the college, and if you have it every day or if it's twice a week, it would verify that time. High school information is provided mostly in class, and some out-of-school research is minimal plus some homework. But college, a lot of it you generally is required for independent thinking, longer writing assignments, and out-of-class research. Grades. In high school, we have numerous test quizzes and homework assignments. Again, at college, it's fewer tests. It could be, again, a midterm and a final and an attendance score. That could be what their entire basis is on. So I know this makes me sound like Debbie Downer, but the reason I go through all these is just so that you know all the good and some of the cons that goes with it. The parent role. This has been a real big piece for our parents, is because in high school, you are strong advocates, you work closely with the teachers and the counselors, we can give you as much information as possible. At college, Parents are as a mentor. They are to support the parent. Therefore, the college views the student as the independent decision maker. Some colleges will do a form that they have the parents fill out saying that then they can know everything that's going on. But for the most part, each student is protected by FERPA, which means, everything goes through them and what they tell you is okay. So that is a big difference when it comes to the college. Accommodations. High school students, you have your accommodations for your IEPs or 504s. Students working directly with the college staff, you can still get this accommodations with the college. We just need to know up front so that we make sure we have you in the right direction and associated with the right people to get you what you need. Now, students who are earning both of them at the same time, your high school and your college, it is giving you a head start. Some, it can give you a certificate of completion in some areas, which doesn't mean you have finished what you needed, but it's definitely giving you a head start over other area high school students. And some actually finish and get an associate's or whatever. It depends on what they want to put into it. Students can experience college early to understand the expectations of college life. They can save on tuition and textbooks costs because it is expensive. And if we can save $1, by all means, let's save $1. If a student fails or withdraws too late from a college course, then this is where we run into a little bit of a problem. And that problem means is we are going to seek reimbursement for the tuition costs from the student slash family because we still had to pay for the cost as a district for a student who is not getting credit. And what I mean by withdrawal too late, there is a time period that you can withdraw with absolutely no penalty. But if you withdraw to the point where you have a W on your transcript, then you will be reimbursing the district for that particular course. The grade will be that you have earned, whether it's a C, A through F, will be permanently on your college transcript as well as your high school transcript. If students fail or withdraw often, sometimes financial aid can be impacted negatively. So that is one thing you want to look at, that this could affect you even past high school. Students who perform poorly may be placed on what is called the CCP probation, and that is by the college. For example, if a student fails, let's say an English class, then the next time, or even if they've gotten a D, I've seen Edison say, well, the next time they can only take one course and it cannot be in the area in which that they just did poorly on. They would need to take something different. So it's like, redeeming themselves and then they can continue. A student, when they're put on that, has to earn a 2.0 or less. And again, the different colleges see this particular rule a little differently, so that would be up to each individual college. While on probation, you may, again, I obviously touched on this and I apologize, but only enroll in one class, and then that way it cannot be in that same one. And again, there is room for dismissal if you go below, and with 5 days, you can appeal. And this one is in the law for college credit, or in the guidelines for College Credit Plus. The expenses at any public college, there are no costs to the student slash family. That would be for tuition, required fees, books. I do know that a lot of things, especially with the whole COVID thing, they went to a lot of books online, but at the same time, that is still not supposed to be, will not be cost to you. They need to get a code to put in so that it is charged to the home school. Sometimes a private college, though, can put a little bit of their of a cost towards their semester. Private colleges have a little bit of a different guideline, but for the most part, I have not really seen any college do that. The private colleges, but they do have the right to do that. So just so you know, especially if you're going to be one of the ones that wants to go out to a different college besides one of our local ones. All right, some expenses. The only thing I can think of that might be an expense for a student is if they need to buy a parking pass and or if they need transportation. Like if they're having family take them or whatever, then obviously the transportation for gas and all that is upon you. But when it comes to the exact college, there is should be no financial burden on the family. Supports. So the college is going to give them support because each student should be given a college advisor. And I use Edison a lot, as you can tell, since they're the main school. We go through Stacy Bean, and Stacy comes in. She hasn't been able to this year due to COVID, but she has Zoomed with kids. She emails with kids, and she comes in and she can get them all scheduled for the school, as well as now they have trained me. I can actually fill out all the paperwork, and all I have to do then is scan it to them, and so that way they don't have to go on campus, especially if they're planning on taking it to high school or online. They wouldn't have to go. It's just another way to make it a little bit smoother for the student. Eligibility, this really is not a factor because with what we need to take for high school, you're going to have 5 academic classes. What is neat though is that, let's say I took CCP Econ, I took a CCP English, and I took, oh, I don't know, um, chemistry and a different history course at the high school. The 2 CCP courses, they only count as 1 credit, but when you're using your formula for eligibility, they count as 2 classes. So therefore, with those 4 classes I just told you about, I literally have 6 classes, even though I only have 4, because the 2 CCP classes count as 2. I know that sounds confusing, so if you have any questions, by all means, please ask. Now, this is a big piece. This is another thing I would jot down, which is this website. Because what I've had a lot of students do is they're starting to take the numbers of the class that they're taking, say at Edison or Clark State, and putting it in for the school that they want to go to because they want to know if it's going to go for face value. And when I mean face value, if I'm taking an English Comp 101, I want the college I'm going to accept it as an English Comp 101. Now, some of them will that won't do that can still be accepted as elective credits, but you only need so many of those. So that is another reason why I use this website a lot to help them, especially if they know kind of where they want to go and what they're going into so that the credits can transfer correctly. So deadlines. Each college is a little bit different. So, telling you this is a specific deadline, I won't be able to do that for colleges and universities. I can tell you that we have specific deadlines for us as the high school, which we will get into in a minute. All right. So, what does it mean to be ready? To what we view and what the guidelines of College Credit Plus views as being college ready, they're emotionally and they are emotionally ready. They have the social transition, college expectations. They have very good time management skills and organization skills. Their grades are going to be high because they're already high at school, so it's going to be calculated into their GPA. It's not going to hurt them. It's going to continue to help them. It's continuously to push them along. And again, this could be utilized even after school, after high school for them. So you're going to be getting a packet that once the students come in, and they'll get them from me. And again, we'll go over that, but this is the deadline that packet needs to be due back to me. I say after you do this, they come in like even the next day, say they need that. I would get it back as soon as possible so that you can get everything taken care of and you don't worry about it. Because especially with last year, it was a nightmare trying to get everything in. So the sooner the better, but that is your deadline right there to make sure everything's in paperwork wise to GHS. Okay. This one again is just you need to decide. Almost everybody goes with being the college is and us are together and we pay for it. but there is an option A, which means you can self-pay. They just put that out there, but I don't really know many people that actually use that option A. So option B is what I've only used with students. Again, I've not used option A, but just so you see the difference in options, that's why that was put in there. This is, if you have any other questions, you can go to this website and it has the actual guidelines and can help you walk through a little bit more. So this is the actual presentation that goes through everything for you. So the next thing I'm going to do is there's going to be, if you go farther down into the Google form, there will be another little one that shows you each individual form that you need to fill out, and it will explain what each of those forms are for. So after you do this, go ahead and hit stop, put the date that you saw this video, and then it will take you to the second part of the Google form. Please, if you have any questions or concerns, either give me a call or send me an email. Thank you.